Bonney is here with us. It's Tuesday. It's all about your money. And today, Bonney, we're all about that procurement law, the 30%.
Right. Sophia, many thanks for having me. Of course, many thanks for tea in the morning.
Yes.
Right. On your money segment today, we'll be interrogating that 30% procurement law. Of course, we do understand it was launched by the president last week. And so we'll be just... Shadrach Kyoko from Kyoko and Associates will be helping me just unpack that and help us understand where can the young people get on board.
Okay.
All right.
Excellent. Take it away.
Right. Many thanks for joining us. This is the Morning Express, your money segment. And today we are trying to talk about financial inclusivity. We're talking about how do we get the young people, the women and the disabled, if you like the marginalized community, into entrepreneurship. And we're talking about the 30% procurement law. We do understand the government set aside 30% of all government procurement to this special group of people. Now, last week, the President Uhuru Kenyatta launched this particular campaign with an awareness platform saying that all the young people, the youth and the disabled and the women rather needs to get on board. But is it working? And can the young people get on board? And is it favorable for them? To help me answer all those questions is Shadrach Kyoko from Kyoko and Associates. Shadrach, good morning.
Good morning.
Shadrach, as mentioned earlier, this is a great, brilliant idea, but has it worked elsewhere?
Well, as you just said, the president has given 30% to youth, women, and people with disability. Now, has it worked elsewhere? I cannot say it has worked to us, but will it work for us? I think it will work for Kenya. As you know, Kenya in the past we've seen new policies come up and kind of give direction to the world.
Right.
Yes, so to that extent, I think it will work in Kenya.
Right, Shadrach, we do understand cumulatively we're talking about 200 billion shillings that has been set aside for these special tenders for these people groups. Yes. In your view, what would be the biggest hurdles to this special group of people getting access to this kind of tender?
Well, I think one of the biggest hurdles will be that actually accessing the funds, because as you know, getting the tender is one thing, being able to getting the resources enough to be able to deliver will be another thing. I see that being a challenge. The other thing is, of course, that there will be the requirement where these people need to register with the National Treasury, which will require, which is what now is being called pre-qualification. And there are various things that have been asked, like one would need to be registered with the government, say either as a government or an NGO or as a CBO. The second thing will be now registering with the National Treasury or the treasuries of the counties. And of course, the third thing now will be getting the tax compliance. Those are the three documents that we need to be qualified. Now, of course, then that might present a challenge to some organization. So that's the challenge that I see for now.
Shadrach, from an investment point of view, are there institutions willing to give this kind of money to this special group of people? Understandably, there might be no collateral or kind of security, but are there investment institutions willing to take the risk?
Well, yes, they are. Actually, if you think the structure of that particular regulation, was that the government institutions giving the tender will need to certify the LPOs, so that now it can give a chance to financial institutions to be able to fund those people who are supplying. But we are saying that from where we stand, it hasn't picked up. With anything new, we'll expect to see a slow start. But yes, in the end, I think it will be successful.
Still on that point, what kind of awareness needs to be done from the part of the government? Because most young people or women groups or disabled may not understand how the tendering process works, and they may not see it as a very clear investment guide. People know of buying goods and selling, but here you're involving government in this process. What kind of awareness needs to go into ensuring there's proper education and knowledge in this kind of venture?
Well, yes. What I think would happen is the government will put significant amount of resources to be able to train these people on the requirements that they need to fulfill to access these tenders, and two, once they get the tenders, then how then to make sure that they manage the quality of delivery, and there will be quality of delivery there, and the third thing is now the business management. Of course, you would understand that with business, is not just being able to, get money and deliver, but again, there are a lot of other things like, managing capital, managing staff, all these things. I think the government who can do more around, building capacity for these particular groups of people who in the past were not in that bracket.
Right. And Shadrach, you mentioned earlier about access to this kind of resources as being one of the major challenges that this group of people would be facing. There's also criticism. People are saying, well, this is a great move, but they've only left the small tenders of, as the president put it, delivering samosas and tea to these offices for the young people. How do you bridge this gap to ensure that the young people play with the big boys as far as tendering goes?
Sorry, just ask again, please.
Right, I'm saying there is criticism that, yes, this is a great move, but they've only left the small tenders to this special group of people. How do we ensure that they can also go for the big money, as it were?
Well, yes. What the government has done is they say 30% will be given to the youth, women, and people with disability. And they've actually listed some items that they think should be targeted for that particular group, but again, of course, people can still access more. There is no it must be 30. It can go up to 50. It can go to whatever level. So I think there still be a chance that if they can prove, if this particular group of people can prove that they are able to deliver just like any other group of persons, then I see more resources or more bigger value tenders also being associated or be given to them.
But Shadrach, how do they prove, as you put it? Because I mean, if they're proving, it's about getting these resources, it's about convincing banks to give them this money for the big value tenders. How do they do that exactly?
Well, the experience is is the best teacher. So in this case, what I see happening is it will start slowly, but over time it will pick up, and then we might see the first 6 to 1 year there will still be people will still be jittery, but after that, and if it can be proven that by giving this particular group of persons we are still able to access the same quality of delivery of services, then I see people now opening up and giving more resources to them.
All right, Shadrach, let's shift gears a little bit and still talk about investment and this special group of people, talking about youth, women, and people with disabilities.
Yes.
If you're looking at investment, and let's go to the stock market right now, what would be the best stocks to look out for this particular special group of people? Were they to raise money in this way?
Well, I think if you're looking at the best stock to look at, I think that right now we're seeing a lot of interest around infrastructure-based organizations. So I still think those will be the best stock. And we talk of infrastructure, you're thinking of companies in the energy sector, companies in the oil, and maybe in the construction sector. I think those are what we likely to see as the biggest sectors. And of course, then there will be the investment investment companies, which are quoted in the stock market. I think those are some of the stocks that anyone will look at.
All right, Shadrach, let's also still talk about the market. We've seen the 20-share index firmly in the region of about 4,900 points, having stayed there steady. Not much movement as far as the shilling rallies with the international markets, international currencies rather. But what do we look out for this week?
Well, I think what happens around this time of the year, there's always tends to be a lot of stability. So I do not expect to see any significant twist or changes in what we've seen in the past month, and that will probably happen to the close of this year. I can't tell you I expect any major transformation or changes in the current week.
All right, Shadrach Kioko, that's a good place to leave it. Many thanks for making time for us this early morning. Shadrach Kioko is from Kioko and Associates. He's been helping us unpack the 30% procurement law by the government and how it's aimed at helping the youth, women, and persons with disabilities, where if you fall in that particular group, now you know what you can go for and where you can seek that particular help. It has been your money. Back to you, Sophia.